Good evening. Can you hear me? Good evening. Yeah, it needs to go up. Yeah. Good evening. We've got a few seats up here. We'll work on the sound. I'm sure there is somebody in the background, Kevin Thomas, if you hear me, we'll start working on that. But there's a few seats up here. The front row is reserved, but if anybody needs seating specifically, let us know. Reserved, but if anybody needs, and we will be rolling here momentarily. And we will be rolling here momentarily. 2 minutes. Yeah. If you are speaking tonight, the chairs up at the front, if you could occupy those, please. The chairs up at the front, if you could occupy those, please. Yes, that's y'all three.
You ask them if they're able to. We still got people coming in.
Okay.
If they're able to. We still got people coming in.
No, we're going to start.
Need this right here.
We're going to start at 6. No, we're going to start.
Need this right here.
We're going to start at 6. Good evening for the second time. It is 6 p.m. We will get rolling. Thank you for coming. It is 6 p.m. We will get rolling. This is an exciting evening for Cabarrus County and Cabarrus EMS in general. Evening for to be a little partial Cabarrus EMS. We're really this is something else. I am Jimmy Lance. I am fortunate enough to be chief of this great organization. I am fortunate and I appreciate everybody being here. Great organization. To start this evening in the same fashion again as the groundbreaking in November of 21, which in many ways seems like yesterday, and in many ways seems like a long time ago. But we are very excited for this amazing facility. This has been in the planning process for many years, and as you can now see, is a reality. This project was a capital improvement plan some 15 years ago. And many individuals that were instrumental in making this dream a reality will be seen and recognized this evening. A brief history to put in perspective how we got here. In 1979, the current administrative office and main EMS station for Cabarrus EMS was designed and constructed. At that time, Cabarrus County EMS had 13 employees. That station at 31 Willowbrook Drive is where the administrative offices, 2 ambulances, community paramedics, administrative assistants, and finances is still housed today. Our current training area is located on the 7th floor of the Cabarrus County Sheriff's Office. While we are grateful for the partnership with the Sheriff's Office, the ability to run accurate healthcare simulations is very limited there. Over the past 44 years, we have added stations throughout the county and have grown from 13 employees to over 160. We dreamed of the day we would have a facility of our own to manage operations, logistics, training, administration, crew wellness, and to accommodate future growth under one roof. And with that, I would like to introduce Deputy Chief Justin Brines to be the MC of tonight's event. And again, thank you so much for being here because it means a lot to us.
Thank you, Jimmy. I am about to lose my voice, and for some people that's probably a blessing. But I will. I'll do my best. So I would like to start off one more thing, and I know Jimmy maybe mentioned this. If you're sitting and there's somebody who needs to swap out, please work through that. We understand. We're thankful that all these people are here. But if we're not going to be terribly long-winded in here, but if you need a seat, we will find you one. So I have a few recognitions, and I'm not going to call everybody by name because I would forget people. So we're going to kind of do groups of people, but we would like to recognize and thank the current Board of Commissioners for being here tonight, any former commissioners that are in the room, county leadership, our county manager, deputy county managers, assistant county managers for their support, any other elected officials who are in the room, thank you for being here. Our allied agencies, I know we have fire department here, I've seen law enforcement, thank you for being here as well. The State Office of EMS is here tonight as well. Our current medical directors are here, as well as our most recent previous medical director. We have a bunch of EMS retarees, so we're also celebrating our 50th anniversary tonight along with this ribbon cutting. Almost to the day, October 1st, 1973 was when this service was taken over by the county. So, and then any other former employees that are in the room as well. I know we have some that are not retired, but that are here. And of course, our current staff in the room as well. We still have folks flowing in, so we have packed the house, and we are very glad for that. My job for the next few minutes is just to introduce the next speaker, and first I have Chairman of the Board, Mr. Steve Morris.
Thank you, Justin. It's great to see such a crowd here tonight.
Thank you,
I'm Steve Morris, and I'm honored to be here on behalf of the Board of Commissioners and Cabarrus County government. I wanted to quickly recognize our Board of Commissioners that are present tonight. Commissioner Kenny Workman, if you would stand, please. Commissioner Chris Meesmer, Commissioner Lynn Shue. Commissioner Tim Furr is on his way back from Ohio, so he had called in, said he didn't think he was going to make it in time, but he's certainly here in spirit. I also wanted to recognize former Commissioner Diane Honeycutt, who I think is back on the back row. If you'd stand, please. She's one of the commissioners. She, along with former Commissioner Blake Tiger, who also had another engagement, was not able to be here. We're part of the board when we voted to build this facility. So thank you to our current board as well as those that served before. It is with great pleasure and immense pride that I welcome you all to the grand opening of our new EMS headquarters and the celebration of this group's 50th anniversary. It's been a long time coming, and we are really happy that we're here. This is a momentous occasion that not only marks a significant milestone in the history of this organization, but also a tremendous leap forward in our commitment to serving this community. For half a century, our dedicated EMS team has been on the front lines, providing crucial care and assistance during times of medical crisis. When we need help, they're always there, and we're mighty glad about that. We've witnessed the evolution of emergency medical services in this county, which has continuously evolved into an organization that meets and exceeds our ever-changing needs. Today, as we stand in this state-of-the-art facility, we're reminded of the progress that's been made, the lives that have been saved, and the countless hours of training and dedication that brought us here. This new headquarters is a testament to an unwavering commitment to excellence and to providing the highest level of care to those who depend on this service. It's also a testament to this team's commitment to each other. You're not going to find a more team-oriented group than the folks who will work from this building. I want to express my deepest gratitude to all of our EMS personnel, past and present, for their dedication and hard work. I also want to thank our community for their trust and support throughout these 5 decades. Today, we not only open the doors to a new facility, but also open a new chapter in the history of the organization. Together, we will continue to save lives, make a difference, and build a stronger, healthier community for the next 50 years and beyond. In closing, I'd like to thank you all for joining us in this celebration. Here's to a bright future filled with compassion, excellent care, and service to our community. I hope you all enjoy the grand opening festivities.
Thank you, Chairman Morris. Before we continue on with our speakers, I'd like to introduce Alan Thompson, Reverend Alan Thompson, who is going to do our invocation.
You would join me in prayer. Gracious God, we thank you for this special night. We come to here as a community, gathered around those that take care of us when those things that we don't like to think about happen. Lord, we come together in this place with those who have made it their passion, made it their calling to serving their neighbor and to making a difference. So Lord, we thank you for all of those that have gone before us and those that are with us now that respond to the calls each day by loving you and loving neighbor. Now Lord, as we come to this celebration tonight, we pray for your blessings over our time. We pray that you would put your hedge of protection around all of those who respond to calls each day. We thank you for the hands that have made this facility possible, that our responders can respond in a way that's most beneficial for the community, but also have the opportunity to be well prepared, to be well rested. And Lord, now we just give you all the glory. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Alan. Up next, I would like to introduce Keith Carline, Managing Principal with ADW Architects, who we worked with on the design for this project.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for letting me say a few words today. First responders put their lives on the line every day to protect our communities. At ADW, we believe that the design of efficient, distinguished, and durable public safety facilities like this one is of paramount importance. We recognize that these buildings not only serve as a beacon in the community, but also must function properly to increase the safety of the community they serve. At the heart of every successful public safety project is a strong partnership and experience. We partner with our clients and their communities to understand the intricacies of their needs, desires, and goals. With that in mind, I just want to thank a lot of people and groups that were involved in this project. You know, first, the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners, leadership, and staff. In particular, Kyle Billifer did a fantastic job working with him. Cabarrus EMS and their leadership, Jimmy, Justin, and Jonathan, you guys were great to work with. We really enjoyed it. From the design team, from ADW Architects, and if you're here, please stand. Ashley Love, Mike Newton, our Director of Design, Nicole Good, Lucinda Sexton, your interior designer, Tim Cohen, our construction administrator. From our civil engineer and site design firm, Banesh, Wesley Sherrill is here. Please stand. And Morgan Walker as well. Appreciate their efforts. Stewart Engineers, Lance Williams, Optima Engineering, Clint Dover, Ron Deese, and Jordan Holcomb. We really appreciate everything you guys did. And then obviously the contractor, Vinoy Construction and McFarland Construction's joint venture. You guys built a great building, and we really appreciate it. Once again, thank you for this opportunity to be part of such a great project. And congratulations to the county and all that will call this facility home.
Thank you, Keith, and I'll echo that sentiment. Y'all were great to work with, and your team was as well. So up next is Rob Cook, who is, I don't get your title wrong here, project manager with Vinoy Construction. Rob has promised to be a man of few words. I don't know, we'll see. So.
All right, thanks for having us here tonight. On behalf of Vinoy McFarland, we'd like to express our gratitude for Cabarrus County and EMS putting your trust in us to build this amazing facility. And when I say amazing, if you haven't toured this place yet, right down the hall, there's a scenario room, which is probably one of the coolest things I've built in my career, 20 plus years. We did not do it alone. The design team, ADW, Dinesh, Optimus Stewart, vital role. Obviously, they designed the building, but the part that not everybody understands is they designed it, but they didn't just leave. They were available, a phone call to Tim or Ashley, anyone on the team, EMS, Justin, Jonathan, Kyle. We call those people with a problem or anything, and they had an answer for us. If they didn't have an answer, it was a quick jump on a Teams call, and we had a solution. I don't think people understand how important that is to keeping construction moving along and building this building and being able to stand here today and open it. Lastly, I would like to thank the people that you don't see here tonight. We had well over 300 laborers and skilled tradesmen building this building throughout the course of the project. Again, you don't see them here, but they were here every day. They showed up in some difficult conditions and times with the pandemic. This place would not be where it is without our subcontractors, and I'd like to thank them even though they're not here in the room tonight. So, thank you.
Rob, you guys have been a class act. Chase especially, putting up with all of our dumb questions, and Tim and Tim Moon as well. We had a phenomenal team to work with. I don't know how involved typically a customer is in a project, but I feel like we've been out here a lot, and we got it right because of that and because of y'all. So thank you so much for all that you did. Before we move to the next phase, if there's anybody, we have some seats on the front row. If we could have a few more people maybe just move in. I think we have some people in the lobby that are trying to get in the room. So maybe just scoot around the edges if you're standing. And then there's like 5, 6, 8 seats mingled up through here. Just come on in and sit down so we can let some folks in the room. That would be great. So we're going to move kind of to the 50th anniversary celebration, and then I'll come back up here at the end and sort of connect all this to our future. But our first speaker talking about the history of the organization we felt was most appropriate, that was somebody who worked here in 1973. And matter of fact, his uniform is hanging in the display case out there. I'm not so sure about the color or the fabric of the material, polyester, but Ron Harwood, one of our former directors, is going to talk for just a few minutes. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you for having me. It is an honor, and it's a blessing to still be alive 50 years later. And to me, that color was not our preference. I call it vomit gold, but it's kind of what it looked like. Anyway, my job is to talk to you about those early days. It was awesome. During the summer of 1973, after the success of the TV show Emergency about this new type of patient care in California called paramedics, Cabarrus County decided it was time to get on board. I could probably talk a lot longer than planned, but Justin threatened to put me back on the truck, so I guess I better keep it short. So during that summer when, okay. So during that summer, an ad was put in Tribune looking for previous military medics. Well, I was one of those, so I applied and was one of, I think there was only 3 of us initially. Out of the 13 original employees, I think it was 3 of us that were actual medics. But we looked forward to coming to work. At that time, the only training, pre-hospital training available was standard advanced first aid through the Red Cross. So we took that, jumped on that, got ready to go. On October 1, Cabarrus County struck gold again. We became the first county-funded ambulance service in the area before Stanley, Rowan, Iredell, Union, and Mecklenburg. We were first. 13 original employees. Remember that number. Of the original 13, I think there's only 4 of us still alive, and there should be one here, Mr. Van Goodman, and he is here. Thank you, Van. When Van came to work with us, he couldn't have weighed more than 90 pounds. His nickname was Splinters. Randy Burris said if he turned sideways and stuck his tongue out, he'd look like a zipper. Everything came in there. During the day, the director would take the call and give us the information that we were running. After 5 o'clock, when he left, no one was in charge. We took the calls and ran them, and documented everything, and did it. Because we were the newest county department, we were afraid to fail, so we succeeded. We prepared our own meals, and each contributed. One of our favorite was chicken and rice, which I still remember we could fix for less than $1 a piece back then. Another favorite, of course, was chili beans. And you can imagine, after eating a bunch of chili beans, a bunch of guys sitting around making noise and laughing. But we had a good time. We had a very good time. A reminder, we had no first responders back then. Now, we run these calls with, that was a word that wasn't even heard of yet. We continued to grow and was recognized as one of the top 4 services in North Carolina. That was amazing. There's a printout from the Tribune here somewhere to confirm that. And at one time, our average response times were under 4 minutes. Unheard of. In 1974, we finally got our first EMT class. Everybody was certified, and we functioned. We became the first functioning EMT service in this area. Not the first, but one of the earliest. Also in 1974, we hired our EMS comedian, Rodney Dangerfield Burris. Randy always had a way of adding some humor to whatever or however bad the situation got, but we appreciate it. Thank you, Randy, very much. I have to tell you about a quick call with Randy. It just so happened a fair was in town on this very site back then, those of you that remember. The call came in sometime after midnight for chest pain. They didn't tell us at that time, just chest pain. Well, we get here at the front gate, so, where's the patient? And they said, well, somewhere down the midway, about halfway in a tent. So we get down there. They failed to tell us that this was also one of the sideshow employees. We step inside this tent, and here is this grossly obese female on the ground. So what do? By ourselves, we load her up, transport her, take her to the hospital because that was our job. We just did it. Today, I don't know that we could do that. In 1975, then, we finally got a station open on 601 and 49, a small metal building, but it was sufficient to keep the calls down, or keep the response time down and to handle the call load that had increased. 1981, we finally got the current Station 1 was constructed, and now at least we have a level floor. In 1985, I experienced my worst nightmare while responding to an auto accident north of Mount Pleasant near home. I happened up on this crumpled vehicle that happened to look familiar. So I get out, and sure enough, it was our own car. My young son was lying on the bank on the left side of the road. I walk up to him, and he immediately says, "Hey, Dad." I said, "You okay?" He said, "Yeah." He had a little cut on his forehead, and he said, "Where's Mom?" So I go across to the other side of the road where the car is. She's thrown, this was before the mandatory seatbelt law. She was in the back seat, had been thrown in the back seat. Now, she wasn't as fortunate. She had multiple fractures all down the right side. But again, it was our job. We loaded, transported, and took care of them. Also, in late 1985 or early 86, Cabarrus Memorial Hospital hired 2 of the finest ER physicians that we had at that time, Dr. Harold Miller and Dr. Sal Delacona. And they were adamant that we become paramedics and push the county and the hospital to make that happen, which did. In 1987, we became the first certified paramedics in Cabarrus County. Guess how many? 13. 13 must be a lucky number for Cabarrus County. We continued to grow, advanced any kind of training that became available, we jumped on it and advanced as quickly as we could. Additional stations were added throughout the county to keep the response time down, which it continually was under 8 minutes up until my retirement in 2002. In 1992, finally, we got the 911 system and first responders, which was a tremendous asset to both EMS and to the citizens of the county. In keeping within Justin's time here, by late 2001, I was looking at my time. I had more than enough time to retire with right at 31 years of service. I was only 51 in excellent health, but I kept thinking, as long as I stay here, I'm keeping someone else from enjoying what I was enjoying. So I put in for my retirement. On May 2nd, I officially handed over the keys and the position of director to my brother, David Hampton, confident that he would continue the leadership and teamwork that we'd worked to build up for the past 30 years. And I want to thank all my coworkers, employees. You were awesome. I couldn't have asked for any better because you were already the best. One employee in particular I must recognize is Miss Kay Crawford. Kay was our secretary, office manager, and was superb at keeping the 3 supervisors and myself updated on the budget so we didn't go over. Kay, you will always be a part of EMS, and we love you. To all the current and future employees, I wish you the very best. I wish you the very best. You've got, look at this, you've got, just never give up on your dream. If I can do it, you can do it. And one final call that I have to tell you. We responded to this gentleman, elderly gentleman who was a World War II veteran who was an amputee, got a wooden leg. There's some here that know the story. He was a regular patient, but he had health issues, and he was the most polite person you could ever ask for, but most from that generation were. Well, we picked this gentleman up and on the way to the hospital, and Mr. Dangerfield back there says, let's have some fun. Because we know there's a class of new student nurses in the ER that day. So we get to the hospital, and Mr. Dangerfield turns the toe down, which is obviously anatomically incorrect, pulls the sheet back so it's visible. We roll into the ER, and you should see the student nurse's eyes and mouth as we get in there. And we put him in the room, get him on the stretcher, and Dr. Miller comes in. Dr. Miller had the most solemn face you could imagine. His expressions never changed, no matter what the situation was. He walks in, he looks down at the patient, and he looks up at Randy and me and goes, and turns around and walks out the room. But as he's walking out, I can see a little grin on his face. But that's not the best part. Later on, this same gentleman accidentally sets his house on fire. As an ex-fire marshal, he can confirm all this. Fortunately, the patient was outside. He wasn't injured. He had a little smoke inhalation. We treated him, packaged it, and got ready to go. And he said, wait, can you see if you can get my leg? So I grab a firefighter and tell him, see if you can find his leg. So he goes back inside, and a few minutes later, something starts flying out the window. 1, 2, 3. And we look, here's 3 wooden legs laying on the ground still burning. So we get the patient loaded. Once again, on the way to the hospital, Mr. Dangerfield pulls the sheet back, so it's obvious he was an amputee. We go in, and he tells the nurse, he said, patient's leg burned up in the fire, which it did, along with 2 others. So once again, thank you all. This is awesome. You've earned it, and God bless you all.
So as Ron mentioned, David took the reins from him, so the next director in line here is David Hampton. Ron took all your time, so you got 30 seconds.
I don't know how to follow that. I'd just like to say, wow, looking at this station, it's long overdue. I pushed for a new station when I was director. I was director for 10 years, and pushed for this same site. And if Mike Downs told me once there was too many rocks here, he told me 100 times there was too many rocks here. But to see it come to fruition here is really something to see. The service advanced, not because of the directors, and not because of the administration. It advanced because of the employees. We had some of the best employees, and continue to have some of the best employees in the state. At one time when I was director, Alan started working. He was my assistant director at the time, and we became one of the only model EMS systems in the state. And I think at the time there was like 7. And so it's always been trying to keep our own identity, trying to make sure that we were the best. We were cramped in Station 1. We were using, up to now, using bedrooms as offices. And I never will forget when I went from a bedroom office to a real office, I really thought I had moved up. And that's what the services operated out of. And we had opportunities to go in other locations that the county had bought, but I felt like it was very important that the county keep its identity, or EMS keep its identity. And when we did build a station, that we needed to build a station that would house everything and that it wouldn't be fragmented. Because at that time, it would have been a fragmented administration with EMS running out of other stations, and I just felt like we needed to keep EMS together and keep them in the same building. So seeing a building like this is just, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's a dream come true for many of the directors that were sitting up here. It's something we all thought about. It's something that we never thought would come to pass, especially at this level. And the big winners for this are the citizens. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. The training that can be carried out at this station with the facility and the new techniques, the new procedures that are coming out every day is going to make a difference in patients' lives. And there's no other way to look at it. And again, Kay, I'd like to recognize her. She kept me from getting fired probably, I don't know, just a couple hundred times by saying, no, you can't do that. Alan telling, no, you can't say that. And so we had a very good working relationship with administration all the way up through now. And I would just like to say I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight, and I think it's great the way the building's turned out. Hats off to Jimmy, Jonathan, and Justin, and the work that the crews have put in. I mean, this is just unbelievable. And with that, no stories.
I lost one microphone up here. I'm not sure whose that is, but I have to say one thing. There's been a lot of the three J's, Jimmy, Jonathan, and Justin. Kara, Deputy Chief Clark, took her position right before this fiscal year started, and she has been instrumental in this project as well, but the majority of it was Jimmy, Jonathan, and myself. But I want to make sure we don't sell anybody short. We've had a bunch of people working on this project, but Deputy Chief Clark has been just as instrumental as everyone else as well. So have to make sure I put that out there. The last director before Jimmy, which you already heard from, is Alan Thompson. So he's going to come up and say a few words. And I'm going to try to find this microphone real quick.
You said 20 minutes, right?
I got it. Yeah, we're back on schedule.
As I look around here tonight, and the word that comes to mind is just community. I mean, how this community has come around this project and come around public safety. And you've already heard the stories of Ron and David and how leadership complemented each other and how the EMS providers complement each other. Because without a family of EMS providers, things don't happen. And I think this facility is a testament of what can happen when people treat their job as a calling and when they treat their job as a profession, something that they want to come and do. And I have to thank our leadership in the county. I have to thank our medical direction. I have to thank these great people that I've learned from in my career about finding a way to say yes and make things happen and realize there's not always a black and white way for things to be done. Sometimes you just kind of roll with the punches and make things happen. But it's certainly an honor to be here tonight, to have the opportunity to speak as a former director, as a retired director, because this is such a great team of EMS professionals and also an amazing community that comes together to celebrate the opening of this facility. And this facility, as David's already mentioned, will continue to further serve the citizens of this county. And when I had the opportunity to retire in 2018, much like Ron, I thought it was time to move out of the way so that those that had been prepared behind me had the opportunity to move up. And when I left with great confidence, knowing that this team would make a difference and they would continue to serve the county well. A mission statement that we developed many years ago with input from all of these directors and senior administration that you see here tonight, and then Ron Harwood was part of it. That mission statement that we went to Raleigh to develop, Dr. Corey was part of it as well. It had some words that that I recall that have stuck with me through my career. And it was about providing progressive, quality pre-hospital care as part of a comprehensive system and to remain synonymous with excellence. And so what I would say, this is the culture of this great EMS system. Excellent care, progressive care, quality care, and being part of a comprehensive system, not being in a silo, but being connected in the community so they can make the right differences. Their focus on excellence and progressive care has resulted in so many firsts in terms of skills and protocols and programs, and the leadership and the medical direction, both past and present, the leadership, past and present, and medical direction both, have established Cabarrus County as a trendsetter in the delivery of the highest quality of pre-hospital care that impacts the county and beyond. Their desire to collaborate and engage public and population health has enabled them to make a difference even before the tones go off. And their forward thinking has led them to engage and partner with the local community college to develop innovative and accelerated paramedic academy to address the critical workforce shortages of EMS providers. They were the first to say, let's try something different because we need to be doing something different if we're going to add more paramedics. So the desire of Cabarrus EMS to be the best has resulted in training being delivered in advanced cardiology, advanced physiology, cadaver labs, advanced airway, leadership, ethics, and so much more. Their team engages in training that far exceeds the required minimums. And additionally, in response to low-frequency, high-risk skills, they've engaged in simulation training in partnership with the community college, but they've expanded that capability in this facility. And so their commitment for this progress, their innovation, and their training has resulted in team members winning EMS competitions, programs being recognized as national models and being replicated across the country, survival and success rates with procedures and protocols that rival some of the best in the nation, and most importantly, what they do has made a difference to each individual patient and each individual family that they have treated. Cabarrus EMS refuses to be stuck in that box of doing things the way they've always been done, because they're always looking for that next big thing that will improve care and response. Cabarrus County has long been viewed as that model EMS system, and this is evident today at the opening of this facility, and it demonstrates their commitment to their progress, their excellence, and being positioned for the future. Their team, these excellent EMS providers here tonight, they consider EMS to be their calling and their life. It's not just a job to them. It's who they are and it's what they do. They want to be there to make a difference when perhaps you are having the worst day of your life. So rest assured, if you need EMS, we know that the best will respond in Cabarrus County. And in closing, I would like to thank all of the wonderful EMS professionals I've had the chance to be around over the course of my career. My mentors, my former directors that helped develop me who I am. Dr. Corey was instrumental in me being where I am now, and always looking forward to what we can do differently. And so I just want to say thank you all, and Justin, Jimmy, Kara, Jonathan, this whole team and county leadership. This facility is amazing, and because of this, EMS will go into that next generation providing the absolute best. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you to everybody who shared your thoughts up here. This was been a very special night. We've talked quite a bit about our past, so I want to shift gears briefly and talk about our future. I want to talk about this facility and what we have planned in the coming years and even decades to come. Our future is bright because our roots run deep. We have established that tonight, but most importantly, our future is bright because of the providers in this room who are second to none, period. At the end of the day, they provide competent, compassionate care. They go out those doors into the trenches in some very difficult situations, and they do hard work. What we do behind a desk is important, but what they do is way more important. So in short, this agency would not function without the EMTs and paramedics that you see in this room who put a uniform on every single day and do this job. We recognize that and we value it, and this facility is an investment in those people. You'll notice as you do your tour tonight, we have a fitness center that is very nice for our staff to be able to enjoy physical fitness, which we know leads to better mental health, a place to come in and work out. We have training space that is super realistic, so much so that I'm going to have to give you a disclaimer before we go in there that some of it could be a little bit creepy for the small ones. We have some very realistic mannequins. We have a lot of flashing lights and sounds in there that are going to put us in situations much like we run calls every single day. Very often, applicants who come to apply and we interview tell us they're looking for an agency that places high value on training and education, and one that provides realistic training that is more than just checking a box for their recertification. The space will provide collaborative meeting spaces and workspaces to involve staff in the process. Everybody this day and age wants to know how the donuts are made. They don't want to just eat them. They want to know the how and the why behind, all the things. And we hope to be able to bring them to the table in space like this instead of the kitchen at Station 1, where we can have a meeting is very important. There's a place to relax after a call, spending time with your work family over a meal or a TV show, which is very important, as you've heard from Ron talking about us leaning on each other and decompressing. Something as simple as getting in out of the weather to restock your truck, which you'll see our very robust logistics area in this building. So this facility is an investment in the people who do this work. This facility is also an investment in your family. I live in Cabarrus County. My girls are on the front row. My mom and stepdad are in the room. Just know that when you call for an ambulance, Cabarrus County EMS will be there, and we'll have well-trained personnel ready to respond to any emergent need that you may have. And the last thing this building is an investment for are the stakeholders, both internal and external. Other county departments will use this space for training and education. This room that you're sitting in will be essential for meetings. We will regularly welcome the public into this building for CPR training. We train hundreds and even thousands of folks in CPR annually, and we'll use this space to do that. We have the mannequins right here to bring them in and do that on a regular basis. So this building is a whole lot more than just brick and mortar, and it's definitely a whole lot more than a bunch of offices. It has a heart already, and they're standing in this room. In January of 2020, the Carolina Fire and Rescue Journal published an article by Dr. Tripp Winslow, who's our state medical director. In that article, he said this: destination agencies use words like we and family. He said, everyone in the agency is an important part of the whole. They consistently give feedback to providers regarding why they do what they do. They treat providers like professionals by showing them flexibility and understanding in how they treat and schedule them. They also never let providers forget that they are valued and they have an important job. Leadership makes an effort to be seen by employees, leading by example and ensuring they do not forget where they came from. Cabarrus County EMS has long been a destination agency, and this facility is going to empower us to continue and solidify that for years to come. But as I close, I want to focus on that last sentence. Leadership makes an effort to be seen by employees, leading by example, and ensuring they do not forget where they came from. I want to leave you all with a challenge for your personal and professional life, and that is, don't forget where you came from. This room is full of people who made me, and honestly, I could name names. I probably wouldn't get through it, but I'm going to try my best. But I'm going to just look around and tell you the ones. David Montague, who worked by my side for years, taught me a lot about being a paramedic. Bill Jameson is in the room, who was an excellent field training officer, second to none. Bryant Kaiser right beside him. David Hampton. Ron Harwood hired me, so that was the first bad decision. But it all worked out. Dr. Craig Corey, who was an absolute guiding light for us for years. Catherine Waggy and Josh Hall have passed that torch and taken it so well. Allison Smith is in the back of the room, who was a supervisor that I respected greatly. Michelle Dietrich I worked with on a regular basis. James Faggart, everybody knows him as Daddy, is in the room for various reasons, right? I know that not the daddy thing, but everybody knows Daddy if you've been around very long. So Michael Stafford was the first captain that I ever worked for. And a matter of fact, I worked under Jimmy as a lieutenant as well before he moved up to the directorship role. There are other people in this room, and I can't name them all, but here's the point. Sir Francis Drake once said, great things come from small beginnings. We had a small beginning about 50 years ago, which doesn't seem like that long ago. Sometimes it does. This is my 25th year with the county, so I can take pride in the fact that I've been here half that time. But never forget where you came from. If you do not forget where you came from, our future will shine bright. Teach the ones that are up and coming, pass the torch for the next 50 years, and we'll be here celebrating 100 at some point. I don't know if I'll be talking, but hopefully some of you will be here for that. But we thank you so much. We landed the plane exactly like we're supposed to at 15 till, so we stayed on schedule. I have a couple housekeeping items that are of somewhat importance. The plan after we finish right here is for everybody to go out in the parking lot. We're going to cut the ribbon, even though you're already in the building. We're going to have a flag raising ceremony, and then we're going to start tours through the building. We will do that in groups of about 15 or so. We'll have tour guides to guide you through. They'll take you through the whole building. When you finish, there is an ice cream truck over that way. You don't have to pay for the ice cream. It's already taken care of. So you'll end out there, a place where we can all stand around and congregate and talk to each other. When you came in the room, you received a challenge coin. I'm not going to read to you the history of that, but for those of you that don't know, the back of your program tells about the challenge coin. Anyone who may have sensory issues with flashing lights and noise, be mindful of the scenario rooms. You can certainly bypass that. There are some mannequins that look like real people in that room. They're not, I promise. There's nobody laying in there that's alive, but just be mindful of that when you go in there. There are a few punch list items that we are still working on. If you notice a door not painted or something right around the corner that you may see, we know about it, we're working on it. We are not moving in this building tomorrow, so I'll go ahead and spoil it for you. We have a few more weeks. We will be in the building before we're fully functional out of the building. So we know that, and we appreciate your patience through that, but our most important goal is to get y'all in here and show it off. This room will not be a part of the tour because you've been in here for 45 minutes. This is where we will hold seated education and lectures. This room does divide in half with the wall straight ahead of me. There's 70 seats on each side. We can use it whole like we are now. And we use some of the furniture and fixtures on the back row. So the tables and chairs that you see on the back are actually what will fill this room, not the ones you're sitting in. We use these for the special ceremony, but we wanted to describe this room to you so that you would know about it. If you need a chair outside, just throw up a hand or grab somebody in a uniform. We will bring a chair out. That part's only going to take about 10 or 15 minutes, but then you will wait to come in for the tours, and we'll be very respectful with time. It's going to take just a few minutes to get everybody outside. If you need to use the restroom, do that. If you don't want to go outside and you want to stay in here, you're welcome to stay seated if this is more comfortable for you, and we'll come in here and get you for a tour or whatever we need to do. But if everybody will, join me outside and we'll do the ribbon cutting. Thank you all.